Okay, so this is build a game that I have so far. So what I've done today and yesterday is I have these are all the units and these are all the enemies here. This unit, you can see all the equipment that this unit can wear here. So we've got a nice little convenient 4 bars. Right now, this unit is currently equipping a test sword. And if I click on the test sword, you can see all the stats for this sword. You can see it's for a knight and it's a heavy sword. The damage is 50, fire damage 30, frost damage, so this is all the damage output that it gives and whatnot. We can also add like some of these. I'm going to go through and explain some of these stats here, like for example the action points. Well, we know action points. Block strength is how much physical damage the NPC can block as a result of equipping this. So for example, if I set this to 50, this shield, if this character NPC happens to block, this unit happens to block. So if I set this to 0.5, there's a 50% chance that this NPC will block. And if this NPC blocks, then they absorb 50 damage. If they receive anything more than 50 damage, then they receive the remainder of that damage. But they don't get the 50 damage. So if this was so if, for example, they got attacked with 60 damage and they happen to block, then they'll block 50 of those 60 damage points, and then they'll only receive 10 of those damage points. Also, there's things like damage resistance. So if this is set to 0.2, for example, after I block, that 10 damage that I receive after I block from 60 damage would be reduced to 8 damage instead, because 20% of that 10 points of damage would be absorbed by the armor that this NPC happens to be wearing. But this NPC, we don't want them to be wearing any armor. So I'll put these to 0. Yeah, we got fire, so resistance to fire attacks as well. So there's all sorts of resistance to fire. There's luck, so I can add luck to this item, and that is like for critical shots. So the hit chance, it's dependent on hit chance. So if hit chance is, for example, set to 0.5, then there's a 50% chance that I'll hit the character. If I successfully hit the enemy, then it falls into luck, and it says, okay, say if I put 0.2, then I'll be like, okay, so now that you've hit the person, there's a 20% chance that you cause a critical hit on this person. So that's how that's calculated. So it first does a hit. It detects, okay, if there is a hit, then there's a 20% chance that you're going to do critical damage. And this is determined with just random numbers. So it might not feel right on the first go, because it's just pseudo random numbers that come up in code. But this is what we have right now, at least for a starting point. So yeah, we've got all the stats here, really convenient to access. So this is just for an equipable item. The characters in the game, if I bring up the scripts here, let's see. The characters, so this is a script for like a commoner character. By default, if I go up, we have like health is set to 100. We have it as a float. We have the stamina, we have action points, damage. By default, it's set to 1, so there's no equipable item. You just punch people and it does like 1 damage, so it's not much, but that's the default damage. We have max slots. So with this 1 damage, by the way, if I equipped a sword was 50 damage, as you can see here, it just gets added on to this damage. So I ended up doing 51 damage. It's kind of a bit of a glitch, but it's not that hard to hit. I might just do -1 or something. I have default damage is just set to 1, and then we take away that default damage from items. So I'll probably do that in the future. But anyway, right now it's here, and we have equipment here, which is the slots that we see on our character. If we go back to the scene, you can see on our character all these slots here. So I've got all these equipable slots, really convenient to access, and I can just drag and drop items onto there. So this is for a unit, and this unit currently has a sword equipped. And we have this enemy as well. I've got like a little bit of a bigger hitbox, so I can click on this enemy a little bit more easily, which is pretty cool. So it detects a click even if I click here. I don't have to click directly on it, which is pretty cool. And you can also see in this, and for this enemy, we have a shield, and we have some body armor on. So if I click on the shield, we can see the shield absorbs 40 damage. So if as a unit that I clicked on before were to hit this enemy, and this enemy were to successfully block that attack, then they would absorb 40% of physical damage. You can also see this seems to absorb fire damage and whatnot. We're just going to leave that to 0 for now. And the block chance for this shield is 0.5%. So this, sorry, is 50%. So this is, it's very important. So 1 is 100%, and this is very important to stress because you can't go over this. I tried to limit the numbers in Unity, but it was being annoying and being a little shit, so I just left it like this for now. So there's a 50% chance the shield will block, and if it does, it absorbs that much damage, which is pretty cool. And this is also for a knight. So right now, all the people in the scene, they're all knights. So yeah, that's that item. If we go back to the game, we can also see body armor. Body armor, so we absorb 20% of all damage, so any physical damage, we absorb 20%, fire, so on and so forth, we absorb all 20% here. So that's what this piece of equipment does for this character. And all of these stats are then added on to the character's attributes, so like all the variables in here, so we can see the resistance, damage resistance, frost resistance, fire resistance, it's all added onto this. And we see we go for each equipable item here, and we just add the item damage, and so if the equipable item has damage, we just add the damage to the character and whatnot, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm just gonna play the game now. I may as well just get into it. I've been whining for too long. So let's see here. I'm just going to open up the console. It's telling me alerts, which is kind of whatever. So it's very important to pay attention to the console because that'll display information about the character. So right now I have it set up so a unit will attack this enemy. Oh, well, this unit will attack any enemy I click. I'm going to click on this enemy here. So if I play the game, we first have to select... First have to select a unit, and it says, oh, well, you could select an enemy first if you wanted to, but I'll select a unit. It says you have selected unit was ID 2. That's a unique way of representing all these characters. Each and every NPC has their own unique ID, and no NPC has the same ID as the other NPC. It's a very unique way of identifying them. So, yeah. So I'll click on this enemy. And this enemy has ID of 0, and it says you have selected an enemy with ID of 0. And if I press the A button, I just set it to the attack to A button right now. If I press A, you can see there's all these attributes that pop up here. So if I have a look at this, we sent 51 damage. That's the default attack, which is 1 plus what we've added on was the sword, so that's 51. And this is how much attack we've also sent to. So this unit has sent this information to this enemy here. We've also sent 30 fire, 20 frost, and 30 dark damage, which is pretty cool. So let's see. It's telling me that the enemy's armor has absorbed 10.2 physical. So that's 20% of 51. So it's absorbed that damage, so it won't receive that damage. So instead of receive something like 40.8 damage or whatever. You'll see later on. And we've absorbed 6 fire damage, 4 frost, 6 dark. And so as a result, the enemy, as you can see, has received 40.8 damage. 24. Enemy 0 has received 5 damage, 24. So it's received 5 damage, 24. Frost damage 16, and dark damage 24. And as a result, enemy health is at 95.2. So this enemy started off with 200 health. They are now down to 95.2. And once they get to 0 or below, they are literally just destroyed in the game. Which, of course, that will be modified as we have animations and whatnot in the game. You might want to play an animation before they die, and then they'll die, and that's fine. That'll be incorporated in later. That's like next on the task. So if I press A again... Hold on, I gotta click here. I'm gonna clear this. I'm gonna press A again. Cool, alright, so we can see at the bottom it says the enemy has died, but let's go up again. So we sent 51, 30, 20, so we sent all the damage. It pretty much did the exact same thing it's done before, and it ended up dying this time. And itself was at -9, and you can see it's destroyed. We've killed that enemy in the scene. So if I press A now, oh, there's a weird error, but I'll fix that. It says knight has been destroyed, but you're still trying to access it. All right, okay, we'll solve that. That's fine. It says you must select one enemy and one unit. So we got one unit selected. We'll select. It's being weird. The object of type knight has been destroyed, but you're trying to access it. Right, I see. That is interesting. Well, don't worry, I'll fix that. Let me play the game again. But right now we've got it working with one unit and one enemy, so that's progress for today anyway. Let me click on you. You have selected unit with ID 0, and I click back on you again, 0, and I press A again. So this time, unit 2 has landed a critical hit. So we've done 102 damage. We've basically done double the damage on everything. Enemy absorbs 20% of damage, which we might want to change this later to instead of absorbing a percentage, because it feels kind of weird that, oh, this armor has absorbed 10, but now it's absorbing 20. It's a bit weird, and I might change that. We might change the armor to like armor strengths to how much it can absorb, how much physical damage. So kind of similar to the shield, where it has a limit of how much it absorbs, and then any remainder of damage will just hit the character or something. We got to kind of work with that. It's a bit weird. But yeah. Anyway, we can leave with this. We can stick with this for now. So we absorb 20.4. That's physical damage. So that's 20% of 102. We've absorbed 12 fire, 8 frost, and 12 dark. That's just the armor alone. So enemies has received physical damage. So the enemy has received 81.6 physical, 48 fire, 32 frost, and 48 dark. And they died. Pretty much one hit. There's also a chance to miss as well. So, I don't seem to be landing in it right now. If I play it again. Clear it. 1. Okay. If I clear this. Oh, well, I'm not going to clear it. I'll clear it. Fuck it. Press A. We'd missed. So there's a chance of missing. I missed again. Missed. See, this is the thing with pseudo random. It's not 100% feels right, you know. Now we've hit them. Okay. So missed. We've done a critical hit. Another one. Damn. And we pretty much killed them on this. Has blocked 40. Oh, but you can see we've done a critical hit of 102. Sending all this damage, which is terrible. Enemy 0 has blocked 40, so as a result, they've absorbed 12.4. So they're probably going to receive about 48 or so damage, or physical damage, and they've absorbed some dark stuff too. So they've received 49 damage, 48. They're still looking pretty grim here. They're still alive though. So they've received 48 fire, 32 frost, and 48. Dark damage, and they've got 22.399. It's something ridiculous damage left. So that's how much health they have left. So probably wouldn't survive another attack. But there you go. That's all the stats for the character, and we've got all the code here, which kind of displays the damage that's done and things like that, and receiving damage. It's so all the mass is kind of in there now. It's probably going to have to be tweaked, but that's what the mass is right now. And I'm probably going to see if I can merge that in today. All right, cool. This has been fun. I'll stop playing the game now, and I'll stop recording. Sweet.